back.
Hi.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Julia.
And we're back in Cardiff.
Cardiff.
Right. If you were watching our last video, and you can go back and watch it if you haven't. If you haven't, go back and watch it. Okay, so we told you how we got to Cardiff, and we did a little overview, right? We did a little
overview of the city itself.
Talking fast is cool, isn't it?
Which is in Wales, or
Right.
Cymru as the original
in
language
Welsh,
in
right.
Welsh. But we're going to be focusing on a singular museum, the
Yes.
Museum of Cardiff.
Right.
And this museum focuses solely on the city of Cardiff and not all of Wales/Cymru.
In the last video, so I'm just going to flip a little bit. In the last video, we mentioned the library and we mentioned the Epic Mall. This is in that same area, the walking area with no cars between the mall and the library. It also has this museum.
Yep.
Which also has a community center. So
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I want to move there. No, stop that. Stop putting bad ideas.
This is obviously the entrance with the little place
we should talk about what the pictures are.
An area for kids to sit, and some books about Cardiff themselves for sale, for borrowing.
Yes.
Moving on. One of the
pretty tiles.
One of the pretty tiles. One of the first hallways we went down had displays of what the building was before they had renovated it to be a museum.
Right.
Can't quite remember what the building was, but
it's all good.
They saved big slabs of the building.
Right, and
like
eventually
this
we'll
piece.
get to the entranceway.
Yeah.
That was very well
building
preserved.
is still the old way. They just have a newer addition and kind of the front.
So let's go through some of the history part. This little timeline here?
Yeah, so this was really cool. They have both freestanding displays and they also use all the wall space, which is great. So, for instance, this is kind of the first thing you see when you walk into this room, and it's basically a freestanding timeline of Cardiff itself. And then the next one is...
So these are two different pictures.
Two different pictures. It's basically a more detailed timeline, and it
goes
starts
around an entire.
Yeah, it kind of starts at the bottom, and it goes all the way around, goes further up.
But if you notice the dates
to the ceiling,
real quick, 2300 BCE.
To 700.
So, in other words, we're talking about a city that has been around for not 1 millennia or 2 millennium, but like 4.
It's
at least, right?
Right.
And so this is an ancient city. Maybe not the oldest in the world, but it's pretty old.
And one thing we want to point out, like we point out in most of our museum adventures, is how kid-friendly.
Yeah, there's a little activity here that
They have activities throughout the entire museum, but this one, there's the touch, there's the feel, and holding, and all of that. But the other thing that they did, which was interesting, is they have their own characters. So as you can see on the wall display there's these
characters.
Kids are dressed up as historical figures, but they're modern. They're supposed to be modern kids, kind of dressed up, and then it's this museum's own kind of character. So it's really cute. So just look out for them throughout the video.
I don't know how many pictures we took of them, but just know that they're there.
They're there. So there's some ancient items.
We saw them.
Yeah. There's ancient items here because I love ancient items, so I needed to share a few of those with you.
Absolutely.
Really cool.
Shall we?
Yeah.
So these are flip-ups that show you different scenes from the city at different points in their history, and
it's a good way to learn for again for kids.
This is a good slide to point out that every single piece of information is in both languages. So you see what's in a name right there, and then it switches right into their language.
So people from Hawaii would also understand that, because a lot of our educational areas do have both languages. They, as much as we try to preserve Hawaiian as a language here in Hawaii, they go crazy about it in Cardiff, and they have the resources, and they have the backup of their government, to do that. So, moving on. Another really cool interactive display for the little bit more modern
to show
people.
the digital age. This shows how the city has changed,
mm-hmm.
like kind of images of it.
and just
So we're different time periods.
innovations and stuff like that. Just really
I don't know
cool
why
images.
It's not loading. I promise I pressed it. Okay. So we're getting more signs and things like this.
History.
Very cool.
Big part of history, obviously.
And this is a dollhouse. And the interesting thing is that it had different time periods. You could look inside it. It actually had actions.
So it was like a cool diorama of history.
Hard to get to play with it because there were kids and we were adults.
Yeah.
So
kind of had to let the kids do it.
I want to play with the toys too. There's
another
one.
piece of the wall. Oh,
the
piece
classic
of a
different
wall.
tiling, and they're showing this is specifically about the different types of tile and brick in this ancient city. Is that me again?
So
you're just taking pictures of me?
Well, I mean, okay. So this was just kind of a far away shot, so that you can kind of get an idea of how all the space is used in the room, and they
like, "Oh, look at him."
How they use, like, I'm trying to be nerdy here, how they use, like, classic displays and pictures, blowing them up, putting them up on the wall, but then they have these also interactive kind of, touchscreen things. It's super cool.
Was much more science museum.
Yeah.
Like, they have a lot of railroads and how physics works in these areas.
And yes, you can actually smell these things
if you want
to. They just again so you can see the characters again.
Yep,
so you can,
some of those are repeats.
Yep.
They should have.
Yep.
This was a whole game.
Yep.
This elaborate game of building your own city and what the rules are. We really wanted to play it because it seemed like a lot of fun.
But again,
yeah, there were kids
the
who
kids
were actively playing it.
Yeah.
And when they walked away, even younger kids who did not understand how to play the game were playing with the pieces.
But we got a picture of it.
So that's actually the
that's
pieces.
That's really cool.
That's not our picture. That's the picture on the wall display of it. But it's this huge display to show you that it's trying to teach you about the challenges of building a city. Okay, now we're in the basement, right?
I'm not sure because they kind of had an eclectic amount of stuff everywhere.
This specific was about different kind of protests and events, and if I remember correctly, this was kind of part of the basement display. Nope, I'm wrong. So this was in the first room.
Yep.
You saw it in the back of one of the other pictures that we were talking about the history. And actually, really nerd out, if you watched our last video, one of those pictures of the side of the wall of the castle, these are the animals.
I think the next one shows what it looks like.
Yeah.
There it is. Yep.
That.
Yep.
So we showed some of those animals
the castle
in the last one.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
Go back. So these animals are really cool. This is an audio display that they had. If the kids go up to the animal to pet them, they will make their noises. So that's really cool.
Okay.
And I thought that was one of the coolest things. We're
just going to go a little faster here. That's the hallway
so there's
we
that
were
hallway.
mentioning.
Yep.
The original entrance to the building.
Yep.
More entrance.
Ceiling and, of course, pillars, staircases.
Pretty straightforward. That's the downstairs.
There you have the characters, more of the characters that we see.
Yep.
And okay, so this is part of the downstairs display that he was talking about.
Yeah.
So it shows just Cardiff through all of
the different political stuff. That's
more
just
of those cartoon characters, more innovative stuff.
We're not trying to speed through everything. We're just stuff's pretty obvious, right? We're not playing dress up. These are all kids' displays.
So this was really cool. St. Patrick's statue, obviously really cool. If we go one more. Then, of course, the Women's March. And if anybody can recognize that, there will be hell to pay.
Yeah, they did not have anything anti-Democrats because it just didn't exist. This is a very liberal city.
Very liberal city. Another more of their protests that they have.
Yep. And we just have different causes.
So Welsh language. So this is them trying to push
their language,
and of course their peace parade and all of that. And this is our last.
This is the last slide.
This is the last one. So the
that's why we kind of went by faster, because it seemed pretty obvious, and we don't want to get too ranty.
Don't want to get too ranty, especially with the last.
This will not be the last video.
No,
of
not the
Wales,
last video of Wales.
How about we let us leave them here? All right.
Yeah.
Till next time.
Till next time.